I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is the murder of 21-year-old Grace Jennings. The accused killers, her two lovers. The weapon, a sword. Here's the story. A beautiful young woman, a twisted love triangle, and an interrogation that revealed chilling words. In Santa Fe, 21-year-old Grace Jennings was found dead beside a blood-soaked sword. Police say Isaac Apodaca and Kiara McCulley lured her to the home. And during questioning, Kiara allegedly told detectives Isaac wanted her gone. Investigators say Isaac calmly denied everything, insisting he never touched Grace. Yet text messages and witness statements paint a darker story of jealousy and control. Prosecutors claim Isaac manipulated Kiara into murder. Tonight, the question haunts everyone. Was this madness, manipulation, or murder by design? Now, through the years here at Court TV, I've covered a lot of love triangles that have turned into murder cases. I've never seen a love triangle quite like the one in this case. It's different. The dynamics are much different. Let's bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, who's been taking a closer look at all this. So Cody, what do we know, and how would you describe this love triangle?
Well, Vinny, this is one of the most non-traditional, unorthodox romantic situations that anyone could conjure up, right? These are three people, one of which is now deceased, but all three of them had a dating history together at different points in time. But just for our viewers' sake, Vinny, I want to walk through all of this slowly with the visual that you can see on the screen right now so people can understand what's happening. So we'll start with the accused killer couple. That is Isaac Apodaca and Kiara McCulley. Now, they say they were on again, off again, and they were both living in the garage of Kiara's mother's house, which is where this killing happened. Here's what these two told police about their relationship with each other.
And how long have you been in a relationship with Kiara?
3 years. 3 years, 10 months.
Who is Isaac?
He's my ex-fiance / friend, confusing as hell.
Ex-fiance?
Yeah.
How so?
We were engaged for 3 years.
Okay.
And we broke up in April this year, and it was because he was a beat. And I forgive his and let him move back in with me.
Fiance, boyfriend, not a fiance. Just a very confusing situation, as she said in that interview there, Vinny. But let's take it back to our diagram to further the conversation here. So now we get to Isaac and the victim, Grace. Now, before Isaac and Kiara got together, he had dated the victim, Grace, and she was underage at the time. Take a listen to this.
How long ago did you meet Grace?
That was 2018.
You guys were hanging out as friends. You guys ever date?
We did date.
Did date?
It was when she was 16, I was 20.
Okay.
I committed a crime there, but...
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Okay, you guys dated for a while, and then you lost contact. So this period of losing contact, would it be safe to call that a breakup, or what was that?
It was a breakup.
So he was 20, Vinny, she was 16, a little bit of an age gap there with her being underage. All right, back to our diagram, because I want to make sure people are still keeping up here. Now we get to Kiara and Grace. Now, going back even further, Kiara, the admitted killer here, says she and Grace dated when they were both around the ages of 14 or 15. Here's what she told police. Take a listen.
Part of me hates her guts. It wants to see her dead. The other part wants to see her get better and see if she can admit it and just fix it.
How long did you guys date for?
I don't really remember how long it was.
Years? Months?
Probably months.
Months. Less than a year?
I think so.
How long ago was this? What year did you guys date?
It was 2015, 2016-ish.
Now, Vinnie, we heard Kiara reference admitting it, talking about Grace admitting it there in that interview. And what she's referring to is this claim that Grace played this role in an incident where Kiara claims that she was raped by multiple people. But Vinnie, also, we got a glimpse of what that garage or room looked like from police body cam where this crime occurred. Now, these are the moments when officers responded. You'll see Grace Jennings' body is blurred. This video was posted to YouTube by the user Sergeant Pepper Spray. Now, Vinnie, Isaac and Kiara explained to police that all three of them that night shared one bed, which of course prompted investigators to ask whether any one of them had any sexual relations that night. Take a listen to this.
What are the sleeping arrangements like?
We were all sharing the same bed.
You were all sharing the same bed? Yes. Was there any sexual interaction between anyone last night?
No.
No threesome or nothing like that between the three of you guys?
No. There was no threesome. There was no sex. Nothing.
Was that ever on the table?
No.
Okay. Was there anything romantic going on between you and Grace?
No.
What about between Grace and your fiance, Kiara?
I don't know.
So why did Isaac want Grace there?
I had no clue what he wanted. But it was her, which, gross. Say gross. I've seen the good kind of people she's been with.
Did he her? No?
I don't think so. I'm guessing he didn't, because he said the worst 12 hours of my life. 12 hours, my ass.
He didn't say anything about a threesome or anything like that.
Usually when there's people in my house, there was three-way, and I'm just like, I'm not touching her.
Yeah. You guys have had three-ways before?
Yeah, we tried. He's polyamorous, and I'm just kind of there trying and seeing if I like it.
So, Vinnie, you know when you log onto Facebook and you can change your relationship status and the drop-down menu comes down and the one option there that says it's complicated? I can't think of a situation that embodies it's complicated more than this one.
Oh, you are right on. Cody, thanks so much. You're going to stick around. And Cody brings us to the first question in our investigation. Did this complicated relationship fuel toxic jealousy? Is that what is bubbling beneath all of this? Here to help answer the question, criminologist and investigative profiler Dr. Casey Jordan. She's also the host of the Criminal Appeal podcast. Make sure you check it out. Also with us, Sharonda Brown, author and nationally certified mental health clinician who specializes in trauma, child abuse, and neglect. Thank you both. All right, Dr. Casey Jordan, your thoughts here about this very complicated love triangle.
I hope we're putting complicated in quotes, in air quotes, because it's so far beyond complicated. It is bizarre, it is fantastical, but mostly it is symbiotic, even parasitic perhaps. Certainly it's dysfunctional, but mostly as we are watching these tapes of their interviews, somebody's lying. And we don't know who to trust. He's like, oh no, there are no threesomes. She's like, yeah, we had threesomes all the time. He was polyamorous. I was just curious. And that sounds a little closer to the truth. But when he's like, no, we didn't have a threesome that night. Don't worry about it. I mean, we know that throuples generally do not work. That polygamy, it sounds good on paper, but in reality, usually the male in a relationship with two other women wants to be, if you will, the rooster in the hen house. He wants to call the shots. He wants to be in control. And he likes having this kind of bevy of women who he can kind of think about as options for him. If they're in a relationship with each other, that doesn't bother him as long as he's calling the shots. And it really does seem to be that as much as Isaac just seems to be this kind of affable, sad sack, emo kind of guy, he definitely looks like he was the person calling the shots in this relationship, because Kiara just seems confused by the whole thing, and she's flip-flopping all over the place.
Sharonda Brown, your thoughts about this very complicated situation?
I know your question was about, did this fuel toxic jealousy? I think any relationships that involve sex and multiple people have the capacity to breed toxic jealousy. It seems like let's pin this, these are kids. I mean, we're talking about teenagers. And when you have teenagers who are involved in adult activities, it's too much for their brain to handle. So then you have someone who's still grooming them, because he said he dated one at 16. And so I'm assuming if Kiara and Grace dated at 16, 15, 14, then they are probably in the same age range. So you have that piece there that you have to think about. And then you have this man, well, he's technically mentally still a child as well, but we'll say adult because he's over 21. We have him in the position of leadership between the two. That is going to breed some type of triangulation, which ultimately would bring jealousy. And you have two teenagers who have a history. And then you have a constant denominator who keeps popping up, which is Grace. So there is some jealousy there, because it breeds the question of, well, why is she here again? Where is she coming from? And why she needs to be here? Why do you say yes? So there are a lot of dynamics here that would make this situation a serious toxic jealous situation. And then you want to add cult-like behavior. So we talk about threesomes, we're talking about mind just distortion altogether, as well as control. There's a lot that goes on into these type of situations, which would cause these type of dynamics. Somebody's going to get hurt in the end.
And Dr. Casey Jordan, another thing that Cody mentioned was this allegation from Kiara that Grace had allowed her to be the victim of a gang rape, and had held on to that since, for years. How do you see that playing into this mixture of the different relationships plus this also alleged attack that she was the victim of?
I'm so glad you asked that, because a lot has been made of the fact that she thinks she has dissociative identity disorder, what we used to call multiple personality disorder. And when I started listening to that and thinking of the very famous cases we've had, and they are incredibly rare. I mean, I'm from the era where we remember Sybil or watched the movie Primal Fear. But the best case I ever covered for Court TV back in the 90s was that of Thomas Husky out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And he claimed the exact same thing, that he had dissociative identity disorder and that he had been in a male prostitution ring with somebody named Charlotte, or maybe it was Connie, can't remember. He had been pimped out. This, the minute I heard her say this, I was like, she has researched Thomas Husky. She is malingering. She is making things up. There is no video. There is no proof. This is just something that she is pulling out of the back of her mind at the last minute, trying to explain why she might want to kill her former lover and best friend. Because this girl exploited her, took money to see her gang raped by 17 guys that we can't find, and there's no video, and don't believe it for a second. It's completely fantastical, fabricated, confabulated, made up, and I swear she got it from researching the Thomas Husky case.
Yeah, and Sharonda, when we look at the ages, right? Extremely young. She's in this relationship, 14, 15 years old with Grace. It's Grace and Kiara. And now it's years later, and she's kind of back in the mix. It seems like she's never let go of that relationship. She sort of has held on to that for all these years.
Absolutely. And Grace is dead now, and she's in the interview still holding on to it. She's still upset. She's still angry, which lets me know there is an extreme amount of jealousy there. There's something going on with Kiara that she's really bothered with Grace. And when you add a fiance/friend who she keeps forgiving over and over again for having these threesomes and bringing women into the mix, here's another woman who they have a common relationship with, but also Kiara seems more passionate about this situation than Isaac does. And there is a connection there. So it sounds like she is extremely jealous or bothered by something that went on with Grace. It could be the relationship is still lingering. It could be that her fiance may have had a wandering eye for Grace. Who knows? But I know that based on Kiara's behaviors, the anger she still seems to have towards Grace, there's an underlying issue there that has been unresolved between the two of them.
All right, good news. Our guests are staying with us. Coming up next, did Isaac control Kiara?
Have you ever thought about hurting her or killing her?
I had a couple dreams like that.
the disappearance of mother Anna Walsh.
Her husband now charged with her murder.
All eyes on this accused killer.
Mr. Walsh was suspecting his wife of having an affair.
The massive trail of evidence.
This incredible timeline of Google searches.
It shows everything that was in his mind.
He searched how long before a body starts to smell.
The disappearance of Anna Walsh murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
What's DID?
Dissociative identity disorder. I haven't had it actually diagnosed, but that's my best guess from my research. There are different personalities that come out.
Do you have names for them?
Some of them, yeah.
That's the killer. She's the one who used the sword to take Grace Jennings' life. So, and she's admitted to that, and she has pleaded guilty to that. But Isaac still has to go to trial. And it's going to be interesting because what is this connection? What is their communication here? Let's bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, what do we know about the communication between Isaac, now who's going to be going to trial, and Kiara, the one who had the sword in her hand and took Grace's life?
Well, Vinny, they texted a whole lot, despite them saying they were in the same small room or garage that night. But, Vinny, some of those texts seem to outline some kind of plan. Take a listen to this.
Good night. I know it hurts. I just want you to do it so you can feel the rush of adrenaline. What do you want her to do so she can feel the rush of adrenaline?
To go to sleep.
You want her to go to sleep so she feels the rush of adrenaline?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I wasn't having it anymore.
Okay. She says, I physically can't. I need help. But no, you're just playing games. I'm genuinely upset. You say, I'm not playing games. I am wanting to see you do this. She hurt you the most, caused trauma. You're being asked to finish this. You want to see her do what? So you want her to go to sleep because Grace hurt her and caused her drama, and you're asking her to finish it, but you're talking about her going to sleep?
Yes.
I just need help, is what she says. You were doing nothing again, she says. You say, yes, I want to help, but I cannot aid you. I can coach you what to do. You can coach her what to do? What do you mean by coach her?
Telling her to go to bed.
Oh, okay. We will have to take care of the mess ASAP after we finish. We will have to take care of the mess. I thought she already pooped herself. What mess are you guys taking care of?
I don't know.
How do I aim? How do I aim right? Just aim. Well, tell me what you're talking about there.
That's Call of Duty.
That's Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. Tell me when. Okay, I'll give a count. 6, 5, I can't yet, dude. 4, I'm shaking, dude. I know, I lose the nervous. Help me drive it through. Help me drive it through? What do you mean, help me drive it through?
She was asking me to do...
To stab her?
Yes. Those messages were me telling her how to plan it out.
Sounded just like a plan there, did it not, Vinny? But Vinny, we also have this photo obtained by the Santa Fe New Mexican. It's a local paper out there where they are, showing Kiara in court with this new haircut. You see her there to the left of the screen. Now, we know that she has pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of Grace. She's facing 30 years behind bars, which, researching this case, Vinny, that's around double the normal time for second-degree murder where they are in New Mexico. But a judge previously said the added time was due to the brutality of the killing with that 3-foot sword. And Vinny, we also know that part of Kiara's plea deal includes testifying against Isaac when his trial comes up. And we still don't know what she may say or not say as far as Isaac's actual involvement or lack thereof.
Yeah, that is the big question. That's what the trial's really going to be about. Thanks so much, Cody. And that brings us to the next question in our investigation, and it may be a question that the jury has to answer here. Did Isaac control Kiara? Was he like the puppet master here? Still with us to help answer this question is criminologist, investigative profiler, Dr. Casey Jordan, and Sharonda Brown, author, nationally certified mental health clinician. All right, Dr. Casey Jordan, to me, this is an important question, and it gets into this relationship, and specifically that night, like, is he controlling her?
Yes, he is the puppet master and she is the marionette. Make no mistake. Because we see that in the language. I can coach you. She's seeming to be like, how do I do this? I don't know. How do I put the sword through her? And he's not just planning it with her. He is there with her, guiding her every step of the way, pulling the strings. We usually call this kind of, when I say a chemical reaction between two people, I don't mean real chemistry. I mean psychological, sexual chemistry, emotional chemistry. We call it a folie à deux, or a wicked attraction, the foolishness of two. Left to their own devices, probably neither one of them would have done this, but when they get together, it becomes, again, a symbiotic relationship where they embolden each other to do these violent things that have been in their fantasies. And when you have this situation with a woman who describes her, and it's a master-disciple relationship. One of them is always in control, and that's clearly Isaac in this. But be very clear, in criminology, we talk about women's criminality being male coerced or co-offender. In other words, was she really coerced into doing this? Was she afraid for her own life and safety? Or was she really just happily walking into this symbiotic relationship as a co-offender? And does she get some kind of psychological satisfaction or reward out of being under his control? So I think she still is. She may have turned state's evidence, but watch out. She might show up at his trial and still in her heart be in love with him and completely sabotage everything.
Yeah, this trial is going to be extremely unpredictable. Sharonda Brown, how do you see this relationship? Do you see Isaac controlling Kiara? And if so, why? Why is she in that position?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that because they're living in Kiara's mom's garage, which means Kiara has the most influence when it comes to where they're living and where they're sleeping. He obviously doesn't have the means to put them in a better situation. So I think that will ultimately give her a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to where they're sleeping and where they're staying. So that would be a risk to lose if you don't please her. She sounds very bothered by Grace. And based on the text messages, it sounds like he had a duty or an obligation to make sure that Grace felt comfortable, that Kiara felt comfortable with whatever needed to be done. So he gave her the instructions and he walked her through it. But I don't think he really wanted to have a physical hand in it. So he says, you're the one with the problem with her. She's caused you the hurt and pain. Clearly, we're not going to let this go. So I'm going to help you through this because I feel somewhat responsible for the situation that I put us in. That's what I'm hearing. So I don't know if he was really controlling her as he was trying to make sure she was satisfied and that whatever situation occurred was rectified.
Dr. Casey Jordan, we have about 20 seconds left here. And what are your final thoughts here about, because you said something that really struck me, that it was like fantasy became reality here. Can you kind of explain how they get from one spot to the next?
Well, think about the Manson women, Charles Manson and the women who did his bidding. Charles Manson didn't kill anybody. He got the women to do it for him. Think about Karla Homolka and her husband, Paul Bernardo, who he got her to kill her own sister and feed her to him because he was mad at her for not being a virgin when they got married. There are so many case studies of this. And it is symbiotic, and I don't want you to think all these women were coerced. They know what they're doing when they get into these relationships. They want to be under control, but it seems really amazing that he wants to go to trial. He should be begging the prosecutor for a plea deal because
he turned it down. He had one. It was handed to him, and he said no, he's going to trial. So we shall see. We're out of time for tonight.
He's still living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Dr. Casey Jordan, great to see you. Sharonda Brown, awesome as always. All right, folks, still to come. Did Isaac or Kiara think the so-called ghost organization was real? I'm Vinnie Politan. We continue our investigation of the tragic, brutal murder of 21-year-old Grace Jennings, who was staying at her friend's house when she was killed with a sword. Here's the story. It began as a friendship and ended in horror. In Santa Fe, 21-year-old Grace Jennings was found dead beside a sword streaked with blood, her body discovered inside a home belonging to her friend, Kiara McCulley. Detectives say Kiara and her boyfriend, Isaac Apodaca, turned jealousy and obsession into violence. During hours of interrogation, Kiara wept and whispered that Isaac told her Grace had to die. Investigators say Isaac sat stone-faced, denying every word, but messages between the two hinted at a sinister plan. Prosecutors allege he manipulated Kiara into killing Grace to prove her loyalty. Kiara pleaded guilty, and now Isaac is facing trial. In a case filled with lies, love, and madness, will the truth itself be the final casualty? There are a lot of layers to this story. And there will be when the trial takes place as well in 2026. Now, one of them obviously is the love triangle and the jealousy. We've talked about that. There's this level of potential control or alleged control of Kiara by Isaac, that he's the one, you know, pulling the strings and getting her and making her do what she did to Grace, which is take a 3-foot sword and kill her. But there's another layer to all of this. Let's bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. This is unreal because we've got another layer to peel back here. There's something in this case about a so-called secret society that existed. This is another bizarre level of all this.
Yeah, Vinny, Isaac was telling Kiara that he was part of this secret organization called Ghost. Now, does Ghost exist? Was Isaac really a part of it? Who knows? It could all be just a facade that he was telling her. But take a listen to Kiara describing this secret group to investigators.
So there's an organization that Isaac is in charge of. I probably shouldn't be saying this to a cop.
I saw the messages about it. I'm just trying to understand it more, you know?
Well, it's called Ghost. They're like an underground version of cops in a way, but a little more intense and deadly. And they get rid of people who are, in charge of sex trafficking, in charge of anything that has to deal with hurting kids.
I see.
And like, he kept trying to tell me, just do it, and you're gonna just kill her. Then you'll get ranked up.
Yes.
He had me join. And I'm like, I don't know what the f***'s going on.
That's quite the layer to peel back there, right, Vinny? Now, that same investigator asked Isaac about some texts to Kiara about Kiara's involvement within the Ghost organization. Take a listen to this.
Remember, you'll move up the ranks, plus you get perks in the black market since this is your first. Your first what? Isaac, what the hell happened? Tell me what happened, for real. This is an agreement. Remember, you'll move up in ranks, plus you get perks in the black market since this is your first. This sounds like you're encouraging her.
And Vinny, you can almost just feel the frustration in the investigator's voice. I mean, they're talking about moving up in ranks, a mystery organization. He's probably just sitting there thinking, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what is going on in this incredibly tragic but bizarre story at the same time? Thanks, Cody. Let's get to the next question now in our investigation. Did Isaac or Kiara think the Ghost organization was real? Like, what's going on here? Where does this come from? Did either one of them think it was real? To help answer this question, let's bring in retired police detective, forensic educator, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, and former interrogator Greg Hartley. He's also a body language and behavior expert. Great to have you both here. Greg, what are your thoughts here? Did Kiara or Isaac, in your mind, think that this organization actually existed?
I don't think Isaac had any belief this existed, but if you watch her, there's some good indicator that she at least has some belief in this thing. When she starts talking about children and that they were doing, protecting children who are being harmed or trafficked, look at that grief muscle, look at that cluster of muscles wrench in her forehead. She starts to raise her hands to talk about the situation and say, hey, this is what was going on. I said this to you one time before on the show, though. I believe it takes a hell of a lot of suspension of disbelief to think the guy living in his mother's garage is running any kind of organization like this. That guy's
wait, Greg, he's not living in his mother's garage. He's living in his girlfriend's mother's garage. Yeah, it's even worse,
yeah,
right?
He's a mastermind.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed in this guy, and Doc, I'm sure you'll say the same thing, is this guy is placating to this investigator. There's force, and a lot of times you're dealing with narcissists who behind closed doors are brutal to weak people. They're very soft around people who they perceive as stronger. You can see him turtling, pulling his neck down into his body to protect those arteries. You can also see him threat checking every time this officer says something, and just his respiration is through the roof. So he sees this officer and those notes as a threat for sure.
Dr. Mike McCutcheon, this whole aspect of a ghost organization, she was describing it in pretty good detail. It seems like he had been feeding her a lot about this. What are your thoughts?
I agree with Greg. I think that she believed it, but I think it was just a tool of manipulation. He's telling her, you're part of this organization. We already established that she has mental health issues. She's believing this. And at the beginning, she says, I run this organization. The first thing she says, I'm in charge of this. And then she changes it to, they are telling me. And who's telling this to her? It's him. He's telling this. It's not a they. And the other piece that I thought was why I don't think it exists is the police officer, the detective, he's doing a great job interviewing when she's talking about it. And he's like, yeah, okay. But when he's talking to Isaac, he's going through the phone and you're telling me that you're part of this organization and there's no information at all on that phone that would say that this is a real organization. There's not one digital breadcrumb that says that there's a real organization that they're part of. For him, it's nonsense. It's all about control, and this is the tool that he's using. It's not me telling you to do this. It's this organization, and we're going to move up in this organization. It's just a manipulation tool. I think it's nonsense.
And let me, a quick follow-up. We have about 20 seconds here, Dr. Mike. This whole fantasy, the world that we live in, there's all these video games that younger people play. Do you think that plays into any of this, of making it seem more real, that they're kind of caught between reality and fantasy, at least on her part?
I do for her. I really do. I think it's been established that she has problems with her perceptions of reality, and he's manipulating that. And again, I think it's using it as a tool. I don't think for a second that he believes that they're part of this organization or that they're game playing or role playing. I think he knows what he's doing, and he's manipulating her because he can.
All right, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, great to have you. Thanks so much. Greg Hartley's going to stick with us. Coming up next, would a jury believe Isaac Apodaca's testimony?
We talked about a samurai sword being kind of swung around too. Explain to me more about that.
It's more like an old English stainless sword.
The disappearance of mother Anna Walsh.
Her husband now charged with her murder.
All eyes on this accused killer.
Mr. Walsh was suspecting his wife of having an affair.
The massive trail of evidence.
This incredible timeline of Google searches.
It shows everything that was in his mind.
He searched how long before a body starts to smell.
The disappearance of Anna Walsh murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Do you use weapons, or what do you do?
I create torture devices out of sex toys.
What kind of sex toys?
Usually a and then put razor blades on it and cover it in lemon juice. And
Sounds good.
like I also thought about doing that to Ozzy.
Wow. These people are off, right? Like having these dreams about torturing this woman in very specific torture. Unbelievable. Let's bring back in Cody Thomas, Court TV field reporter. Let's talk about Isaac Apodaca. He's the one who's going to be going to trial. The interrogation was extensive. What else did he talk about during that interrogation?
Well, Vinny, throughout this hour, we've already heard what could be taken as a confession from Isaac Apodaca, but of course, innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But before that, Isaac denied any involvement when speaking to the investigator about this murder. Take a listen.
Did you help Kiara do this?
No.
No. But you knew it was going to happen.
I knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen since last night.
I knew it was going to happen since last night, but I just didn't want it to happen because it's a friend of mine.
When did this plan start? Because this was planned.
She planned it out.
Grace planned it out?
No, not Grace. Kiara planned it out.
Kiara planned it out. When? How long had this been a plan for?
She had planned it out since 2020.
Can we stop making up lies about these messages? What the hell happened last night?
She was messaging me on planning on how to kill her, and...
Who was messaging you planning on how to kill who?
Kiara.
Kiara was messaging you on planning how to kill...
Grace.
Grace?
Yes.
And what were you doing?
I was only sending a message back, only in correspondence. I just wanted to sleep. That's what I...
Are you sure? Because it sounds like you're planning something with Kiara. Is that what's happening? Don't lie to me. What's happening here? I can see the messages. I'm not dumb. This isn't the first time I've done this. What is happening?
She was planning on killing Grace. I just didn't want a part of it. I knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen since last night.
I knew it was going to happen since last night, but I just didn't want it to happen because it's a friend of mine.
Knew it was going to happen, but you weren't involved. That's pretty interesting to me. But again, innocent until proven guilty, Vinny.
And I'll guarantee you, Cody, that's what part of the defense is going to be in the case.
Absolutely.
You know, he's pleading not guilty. He's not admitting anything. Cody Thomas, great work tonight. Thanks so much. And obviously, this is going to be a trial, and he may very well get up on the witness stand to explain his actions, his text messages, why he was doing what he was doing. And that brings us to the final question in our investigation this hour. Would a jury believe Isaac Apodaca's testimony if he got up on the stand? Would they believe him? Here to help with our investigations, criminal defense attorney Josh Colesrud, and still with us, former interrogator Greg Hartley. Greg, what are your thoughts? Because, I mean, he's going to go to trial. I think the case is going to be more about what he's saying in that part of the interrogation than what he says later on. You think a jury would buy this?
Well, Bordier is going to be everything, right? If you pick stupid enough jurors, maybe. That's the only way I could see it, because he screams lack of trustability, if you look at him right there to me. His body is shrinking. He's balling up. He's getting down. He's closing up. And even people who don't know body language sometimes get it right when they say that closing somebody off matters. Look at his respiration. He looks sketchy and shaky. That hard eye contact with the investigator or at that phone constantly, that's odd. And no blink rate at all, which is an odd thing. It looks unnatural, and I think people don't like people who look unnatural.
Josh Colesrud, if he may have to take the witness stand, or, you know, it depends how it goes, right? It's a game time decision. But if he did take the stand, you think a jury would believe him?
Well, Vinny, he has a lot of explaining to do. Now, there are three things that really are going against him. And, you know, the last time we talked, I brought up corroboration. So what are the things that make us believe what Kiara was saying? Now, his defense attorneys are going to say, well, she's crazy, she's this, she's that, she's a weak witness. But you know what? I think that actually helps the prosecution, because she's actually exhibiting the signs and symptoms of somebody who is weak and can be manipulated by somebody who we can see in the interview is very composed. He seems like he knows what he's doing, and he's deliberate in what he says. And so we have three things, right? We have Kiara's statements saying that he helped her plan this and actually encouraged her to do so. We will also have his statements, right? we have him saying that he meant what he said, and that he was aware that Kiara, was going to try to kill her. But we also have the text messages. The text messages are everything in this case because they corroborate not only what Kiara says, but his admissions during his own statements. So I think that if he takes the witness stand, the prosecutor should tear him to pieces.
And Greg, from what we've seen in this interrogation, this is work that you did for years. I would almost want this interrogator to be doing the cross-examination in front of the jury. I mean, he knew how to reach this guy. Do you think a lawyer can pull off the same thing inside of a courtroom?
Yeah, I think the right attorney, the right lawyer can walk this straight down. This is a concentric circle argument. There are two ways. If you look at the way the Reed technique works, it's a process-driven, drive a guy down a funnel. There's also this concentric circles he's using. He keeps going more and more logical and tightening up on this guy. And you can see the guy's smart enough to realize it's happening, and that makes it very difficult. So if the attorney does that, if he does concentric circles of questions that eliminate any opportunity to wiggle, I think he has him.
And Josh, obviously the admitted killer, the one who drove the sword through Grace Jennings, is a key witness and will be an important part of this case. The jury's going to want to hear from her. Is there anything that can happen through her testimony that could somehow help this defendant?
Well, if she recants her testimony, and because she somehow remembers how much she loves Isaac, that could certainly help the defense. Now, we don't know what she's going to say. I mean, we can all see that she's a disturbed human being. And I'll tell you, I've been on the front lines of these cases, and stranger things have happened on the witness stand. And, it wouldn't surprise me if she does something equally as crazy on the witness stand as what we heard and witnessed during her interrogation.
Yeah, that is the X factor that's out there, Greg, for this trial, is that she's going to be a crucial witness. We have about 30 seconds left here. What do you think a jury will take away from her mental issues plus her body language and everything else and the way she is?
Well, that body language, she shows no shame whatsoever when she's making those statements that you played just in the beginning of that. And any normal human would show shame in their chin. We can see shame in people. They drop their face when they say something like that. If she sits there and brags to it, they can either see her as a victim and manipulated, to your point, or they can see her as crazy and not telling the truth. So I think it's going to be up to the attorneys how that's perceived.
Yeah, this is going to be some trial. I mean, it's so unpredictable. No idea how this is going to play. But a big thanks, Josh Colesrud. Always great to have your insight. Greg Hartley, awesome. Thank you, sir. Great to see you. All right. I don't care what consenting adults, even if they're young adults, do in their bedrooms. But the two key words here are consenting and adults. The first big problem with Isaac Apodaca is that it seems Grace was a minor when he was first romantically involved with her. Minors cannot consent. I think from there, Apodaca's moral compass just collapsed into a real dark place. And I think in the end, the jury may feel the same way I do. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.